All right. Hello, business writing students. So we're going to kind of continue with the writing process here, moving a little bit more specifically into emails. So what I want to talk about here are kind of the basics of writing an email, which may seem familiar, but again, the more intentional we are about our writing, the better our writing becomes. Now, I would suggest before you send an email that you take into account three things. Number one, is an email the best vehicle for this? Do I need to send an email or do I need to schedule a meeting? Would an instant message or message in Teams or whatnot, would that suffice? Do I need to go to that person's office? So what's the best method? And if I've determined that email is the best method, then the next thing I'm going to think about is, what is my purpose? What am I trying to accomplish? And after that, I'm going to think about audience, which is going to be on the next slide. So purpose. Why am I writing the email in the first place? Now, let's say hypothetical situation. What I want to do is update my boss on a project that's been delayed. Now, there are a couple reasons that I might want to do this. One of which is that I want to make sure that my boss finds out from me and not from somebody else. That's going to reflect poorly on me if they don't find out from me directly, and then it's going to become a flurry of emails. So what am I specifically trying to accomplish here? So perhaps what I'm trying to accomplish is explaining the situation, right? I'm going to preempt any concerns about the project and provide a timeline for getting the project back on track. In other words, what I want to say is to my boss, hey, Shannon, the project is behind, but here is what we're doing to fix the problem. Bosses are generally more responsive and appreciative of an email that says, we're solving a problem rather than just, we have a problem. Is it a reasonable task? Is it reasonable enough for me to say, hey, here's the problem we've delayed, and here's how we're going to get it back on track? Yep. My boss should be able to understand that the delay is out of my control and be appreciative that I am working to remedy or fix that particular situation, right? So audience. Now, again, it might be tempting to just say, well, the audience is your boss, so what more do we need to know? Well, there's actually a lot of considerations that go into an email, especially if it's a person to person. Now, if it's a person to a bigger audience, there are a lot of considerations as well. But in this case, this hypothetical, who am I writing for? Now, I'm writing for my boss, and let's imagine hypothetically that we work closely together on a variety of projects. Maybe we've known each other for a couple years, and Shannon knows, hey, Michael knows what he's doing. He's competent. He's got a good team. So I can trust him. And that's going to be a very important part. If, on the other hand, I were very new, and this is one of my first experiences with that boss, I want to be very, very careful and make sure that I have done everything I can to remedy the situation and that email is as professional as possible. Now, what does my boss know in this case? Obviously, if it's a big project, she is aware of the project and what the stakes are. That is to say, why this particular project matters. What I might focus on is the fact that she knows the project. She's very aware of the project and its importance, and that she knows my team is capable. She knows the importance of the project and some of the challenges that we're facing. So this may not be an entire surprise to her. What's their investment or interest in the issue? And another way to think about that is, why does my boss care? What does it matter to her? So she's under pressure from her boss to see that the project is completed on time, and the project is important to our department, and she's expressed her support. Now I have quite a few things that I can think about as I begin to create that email. Number one, we have an established rapport. That is, my boss and I know each other. She knows what we're capable of. She's also aware of the situation and the importance of the project. but she's under pressure to see things completed on time. And importantly, she's expressed her support, which means in this email, if I need to ask Shannon for something specific to help me and my team out, I can do that. And I can feel comfortable making sure that gets done. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So anticipating response. Given all of that, given the purpose, given the audience, what's the ideal response? Ideally, my boss will respond with support. Now, I already believe that she's going to support me. I also hope she'll offer additional help to get things back on track. Now, if there's something specific that I need from Shannon, I want to put it here. I want to put it in the last little bit of that email, the last line. Could you reach out to so-and-so? Can we schedule a meeting? Whatever it is. If there's not specific help I need, it is fine to say, I will contact you if I need any additional help. Just want to let you know where we are at this point in time. Are there any challenges or conflicts that might get in the way of the ideal response? So that's number 3. She might be stressed or frustrated that we're behind schedule because it's going to reflect poorly on her. Now, with that in mind, I can address that in my initial email so that I don't have to send another email afterwards. So what I can do is I can address those challenges. I can provide specific details about how we plan to get back on track, providing a game plan that may help alleviate her frustration or help her feel a little bit more at ease. Now, in that case, the ideal response may just be that. It may just be, thanks for letting me know. Let me know if I can provide any additional support. Now, that makes you look good. It provides comfort to your boss. The caveat or the warning there is, don't just say it. Make sure that there's something in the works. Hopefully, you've already got the ball rolling with these other things. So let's look at a hypothetical example to a boss, given this situation and all of the things that we've talked about. What I want you to think about as we look at this is the length of it, the specificity, and whether or not it would be appropriate for the situation as I've described it. So here's the example. Now I've started the subject with status update, project X delayed. Now, is this a good subject line? Is it short? Is it concise? And is it specific? If Shannon looks at that and she's going through her email inbox and she sees that email from me, does she have any question about it? I would say this one's pretty good, right? This is doing what it needs to do. It's a status update, so she sees that at the beginning, and then she sees the important part. Now she can triage or figure out how important this email is based on the situation. So, hello, Shannon. So that's my greeting. Is that a good greeting? Yeah, I think that's okay given my audience, given we've worked with each other, we work closely on some projects. I don't need to say her, Shannon's full name. I don't need to use her title, right? But I'm being specific here. So then I'm going to get into the body of the email. Project X has encountered an obstacle delaying completion by 1 week. All right. Now, she's not going to be thrilled by that. That's very clear. But I've established right out of the gate what the problem is and what the time frame is. I'm not saying it's been delayed. If I just said Project X is delayed, that does not answer the question of by how much. So let's go into the next sentence here. Suppliers located in Florida are affected by supply chain issues, which prevents widgets from shipping as expected. Now, again, I'm focused on explanation, not excuse. I'm not saying, hey, it's not my fault. Those guys in Florida, they don't know what they're doing. I'm keeping it very professional here and saying, look, things are out of anybody's control. There's supply chain issues. They're not getting it here in time. That's the issue. That's what's delaying things a week. Now I'm going to kind of come to the rescue, right? Superhero cape on. We have already contacted the supplier and arranged for rapid shipping. So that's the best thing that we can do. Maybe that was the most viable option. The widgets should arrive by Wednesday, And once we receive the shipment, our team will work closely with manufacturing to make up lost time by scheduling additional overtime. So I've said, now we've done 2 things to fix this. Things are going to get back on track. We're delayed by a week, but we're fixing it. And then ending with, please let me know if you have any additional questions. Now, since I don't need anything specific from Shannon at this point, all I'm doing is providing that status update so that she knows where we're at. Now, just to play devil's advocate here, in that last sentence, do I need to explain how we're going to schedule additional overtime? Do I need to provide a timeline? Do I need to include specific dates or shipping information? No, I'm just providing broad strokes, because exactly how we're going to get the overtime is not necessarily something that affects Shannon at this point. So I can just leave it there. Now, again, hopefully what I get back in response is, thanks, keep me posted, and let me know if I can do anything to help you out at this point. Now, a couple other things just before I end the video. Number 1, I've addressed this to Shannon. Now, I could include other people on the email by using the CC or carbon copy function if there are other people that need to be in the know. People on my team probably don't need to be included on this email because they already know the situation. However, manufacturing may need to be in on this if we haven't already talked about it, but hopefully we have, because I've said here that we're going to work closely with manufacturing. So this is probably it. I probably don't need to include Shannon's boss because she can convey that information as she sees fit. So again, just another consideration as we think about audience composition, and what we need to include. And I said that was the last thing, but there's one more last thing, which is I can think about this in terms of, if members of my team, Shannon's boss, the people that are part of that supply chain that are shipping the widgets, if they saw this email, I don't think anybody would be, sort of have negative feelings about this. It's going to be positive. It's very clear. Again, I'm not blaming anybody. So before I click that send button, I feel like, okay, this is good. I don't feel like this reflects poorly on me, the company, my boss, anything like that. So there you go. Again, thinking about purpose, audience, and then keeping it nice and short. This will take Shannon 10 seconds to read. All right, there you go. If you have questions, comments, concerns, jokes, memes, or recipes, please let me know. Otherwise, I'll talk to you all in the future.